All right, friends. Hello to the Finding Grateful podcast. This is episode 3 with Jason and Duane. Hello, Duane. How are you,
Hey
man?
guys, how you doing?
I'm doing
Hey.
just fine. How was your day?
Oh, it's been an interesting day. I woke up this morning. My dog Dina had a bad. She had a bad cough. I just picked her up and she just whined right there because she got a big shot in their back and she was not happy about it. So I took her to the vet. So I spent the whole morning searching for a vet. And I found one just up the street, and she had bugs on her. Here's the deal: she's been hanging out with the street dogs because in Turkey there are street dogs all over the place. And last night we were at a bar, and I was just went in to listen to the music, and I had the dog, and everybody brought their fucking dog. It was like there were three or four dogs, all these people in the bar, and they were all playing. The dogs were like playing with each other. She had a hangover. She had a doggy hangover this morning, and so she woke up with this bad cough. And she had bugs on her. And I was like, what? Bugs and a cough? That's not okay. It was so bad in her nose, her cough, she couldn't breathe out of her nose. And so when I would start walking her, she'd breathe harder and it would come out harder until she started breathing out of her mouth. She couldn't figure it out. So I got this bag, I got it
Uh,
out, backpack, and I stuck her in there and I just carried her. Because I don't have a car. I live on the boat and I walked to Turkey. It's about a half an hour. I walked to the. It's easier by the time you park and move. I mean, driving is way overrated.
yeah, you are a nomad. For people that don't know, Duane lives on a boat actually. So, yeah.
I live on a boat. I'm parked in a place called Gumushlik, Turkey. It's on the west coast. It's a natural harbor. It's beautiful, and I've got a good mooring here. So today on this next episode, I want to talk about expectations.
Yes,
We
sir.
we put in our mind this idea of how things are going to go, and we believe in it so hard that we can't change our minds. That's really what expectations are: is you expect something to happen and it doesn't happen the way you thought it was. And it happens every day to all of us. But the cool thing to do is to not get upset, because in the end it really doesn't matter, because you can always, if you have your wits about you and you stay cool about it, people will have a lot more faith and confidence in you as you roll with the punches. As I've been sailing this boat for 4 years, I've gotten extremely confident in landing this 40,000 pound beast into a little tiny slot between two super yachts and not scratching either one. And the wind's blowing, and I've gotten really good at driving it. It's kind of like the big tractor trailer trucks when they back them into the you see, and that's how it is with boats. And so I come swinging this thing in, and often things don't go right. Often things go like, you know, the wind will blow too much, or there'll be another boat going by super fast, and it'll throw a wake, and it'll throw me off a foot one way or the other, and people get really anxious. Oh my God, I'm gonna hit! Ah! People on the boats are screaming and shit. And I was like, I don't scream. I stay cool, because I've most of my life I've been an equipment operator. I fly airplanes. I used to have a fleet of tractors. I had an excavator and a backhoe and a bulldozer and all these big dirt pushing apparatuses. And so for me, moving around big heavy things is second nature, and I've been doing it since I was a little kid. So when all this shit happens, I've kind of like run into all these problems, and I just deal with it. Like, oh, I got to move a rope from here to there instead of from there to there, and manage it, not start screaming, oh my God. And so more than once, I've had people come up to me after, they say, hey man, I watched you come in, because everybody watches the boats land. I mean, that's everybody's waiting for the TikTok moment where they can get the trash. And they said, I've been getting a lot of compliments about not that my boat didn't go sideways, but that I remained cool under that pressure.
I
And I
can
was like,
attest to that.
yeah. And oh yeah, you were here once with me. Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
And
yes. You
I
are very cool to the point that it's kind of frightening to me.
yeah.
But I kind of admire, yeah.
So that's a form of managing expectations. I expect the boat to go straight. Sometimes you get lucky and nothing else gets in the way, but it's water and it's air and it just blows around. So when it does, if you're not used to it, you're like, oh my God. wow, we're gonna sink. You know, you don't know because you're on top of the water, and if you have one little hit, does that terminate the whole, ship? We don't know. So you get nervous. And now, when I'm the captain, generally people stay quiet. But when it's all over and we pop a beer, then they say, wow, you were really cool under that pressure. Now, I wasn't always cool. That's for fucking sure. Then one example I want to give of how much I've changed. And because really this whole podcast is about being able to change a perspective. And I'm in a, pretty great place now in my life. And I think I've always been in a great place, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't have the faith to see really far ahead. I was called out on that in my middle age when I was like 35. I was building a house and something had gone wrong. And my dad happened to be there, and he had built houses for many years before for his whole life too. So he was just watching me. He's retired. He's watching me, and something didn't go right, and I got all bent out of shape. Oh, God damn it. Oh, I got mad, and I mumbled and grumbled, and everybody on the job site saw that. I wasn't cool. I found a solution. I always can find a solution. Sooner or later you find a solution. But when the problem occurred, I wasn't cool. My dad, when after that happened, he goes, "Hey, dude, you know what? It doesn't matter." Yeah, it does. He goes, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter that happened because you have faith in yourself. You know you're going to find another solution. And for every setback, there's probably a springboard that sets you up to. For everyone you fall back, and life just goes on. But what's more important, stay fucking cool." One of the biggest fuck ups I did was when I got married. I had a promise from my wife that we would have kids, but we're going to try to have kids, and our intention was to have kids, and if we did, we would take them on a big sailboat ride for like a year. We were going to go somewhere, and she knew I was an adventurer, and I was a pilot when I met her, and then I grew up sailing. Surfing has been the main thrust of my life. And she was like excited about it. She was 29, and she was like, yeah, we're 28, 29. She's like, yeah, that sounds great. And so our first 7 or 8 years, all fun. And we were working like crazy. And then about 12 years into our marriage, I said, hey, we have enough money. I want to go on that sailing trip now. And she said, no. I said, why? She goes, because kids are too old. She made up some really bullshit excuse. And this evolved over a year or two. It was fun. I tried to say, hey, let's go and look at boats, and living in San Francisco, right across the street from the bay, and slowly tried to work myself into it. So I wasn't like I just said, okay, we're gonna leave tomorrow, but I tried to be normal about it. But it was clear that there was pushback, and there was all kinds of excuses really on their part. But they didn't want to go. The kids didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. And I got upset. I started getting mad. I got angry about everything. And my ex-wife, she's like, you got to go see a shrink. And I was like, no, I don't. I got to go sailing. That's really what we were supposed to do. And I'll admit, I didn't give credence to why they didn't want to go. At this point in my life, I still think they made a mistake by not going. But I think had I approached it with a calm, cool head, they probably would have gone.
So you were adamant about, were you pressing her to actually go?
Well, I tried many times to convince them, and, just by saying, oh, you got to do this. We got to go. And believe me, my ex-wife was a freaking strong person. She would not easily give in. She was a great partner, great business partner. She was an architect. I was a builder, design and build houses together. We had a business where we went parallel, well, kind of like segmented. We'd find a lot to buy. I'd say, look, here's the lot, design it. So she would work with, we had a staff architect and a draftsman, and take it to the engineers, and we take it down to the building department, get a permit. And then she'd hand the plans to me. Say, okay, go build it. All right. So I take machines, start digging holes, pouring concrete, frame it up, and then put it together. So we worked together, but it wasn't like she was standing on the job site. She'd come out all the time, but decisions were already made. It's like that wall goes there, this window goes here. If there was a problem, I'd bring it up to her. It's like, hey, that window doesn't fit there because then the stove doesn't fit underneath it. Fix it. Oh, okay. But generally our roles were very well defined and separated, so that we didn't have to sit there and argue over decisions. I let her make all the design decisions. She let me make all the construction decisions. She never questioned it, and I never questioned her. We were working towards a common goal, but separately, and it was very good combination, and we were very successful. So she's no pushover.
So you say in no uncertain terms that she could easily bear the difficulties of the sailing trip,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
guess, she wasn't softy.
No, she was not soft. And my kids were strong, and they didn't get seasick, and they didn't, they had all the capabilities to go do this. And I just thought it'd be a really huge bonding event. But because I wasn't chill about trying to make it happen, and I wanted it to happen so bad because I saw that in my brain so hard. I had visualized my kids and my wife and me all sailing along in a catamaran somewhere in the Mediterranean, all together, and visiting all these different European cities, and maybe even stay in one for 3 or 4 months and put the kids in school there, because the kids were 8, 10, and 12 at the time. Or even less than that. They were whatever. They were 6, 8, and 10. And so perfect age to go. And they protested. And instead of saying, okay, making some kind of concession that was reasonable, I got mad. And I was like, God damn it, and I'd mope around, and this took over time. This happened over a year or two. It evolved over a year or two. And she says, oh, you got to go to a shrink because, and I'd say, no, you have to go to shrink. Your guys, you promised you'd do that. And well, the kids are too old now. They're not too old. But those are new rules. The kids are the oldest one has to be back and before she starts high school. And it's like, well, she's been with the same kids for 8 years. In 9th grade, suddenly she's gone for 6 months and they're going to forget her. No, she's going to come back being cool. Like, what did you do? Oh, I just spent, the winter in Sorrento or, Sardinia at a little village school, and I can speak Italian now. Oh, nice. Okay. Something to talk about. That doesn't make them uncool. But it really wasn't about that. She, at the time, I don't know. She had something else going on. She didn't like me, and I kind of knew that, so I'd get mad. But I think it also had to do with I was just so dead set on doing something. I just had to make it happen because I had this vision. In the end, we did make a compromise. We moved out of the city and into the country, into this big ranch house, and in the middle of our marriage, and that became, I called it my boat. I said, welcome to my ship. And it was 10 acres, a couple 1,000 feet long and whatever, half a mile wide. Big, beautiful piece of property out in the vineyards in Central California, and 5 minutes from the waves and the water, and just amazing piece of property. And they did move. That was ultimately the goal. And I did go see a shrink. And what they did, and this is kind of fucked up, they wanted me to go on Prozac to calm me down. And I said, I don't need to go on Prozac. I need to go on a boat. Because if I fulfilled this thing, I would calm down. No, I don't want to go. And I think it was a control thing. So anyway, I did the Prozac. I said, well, if I do the Prozac, we'll at least move down to Central California. Yeah. But even after that, she was never happy. So it was like this.
You're actually giving up on your dream and trying with concessions to ease her. And maybe did you in the back of your mind, did you
Well,
actually believe that she could actually at some point give in and you
no,
could actually pull that off something?
no. Once she started saying no, I knew she meant no, because that's how she was. She was very definite. So I knew there would be no sailing, there would be no trip to Europe. So I said, well, okay, we can stay in California, move halfway down to Los Angeles. My family was from LA, her family was San Francisco, so we split the difference finally instead of living up north. And we'd already made our money, so we just had to go down there and spend it wisely and don't lose it, which we didn't until the market fell apart. But even that, we didn't lose everything. We were okay. And so about 10 more years later, because we were married for 22 years, just before that, 8 years later, I get a phone call one day from this guy who wants me to build him a house. I said, sure, send the plans. And it turns out it was up back in San Francisco. And I was living about a 4-hour drive away. And I needed the money for another job. Normally, I didn't take other people's work, but in this case, I needed the money. So I bid it. It was like $1.2 million at the time. And it would be a nice income over a year. At the time, I'd probably make 10% on it, maybe 20%, 10, 15, 20%, depending on how the job went. So it was nice cash flow. Needed that to support the family. And I didn't realize who the job was for. I was just somebody sent me this random set of plans. It was a friend of a friend. And then after I bid it and I started talking to the owner, turns out this guy was my old shrink. The guy who prescribed my ex-wife convinced to give me these drugs. And here's the thing about the drugs. If you take Prozac, or for me anyway, it doesn't affect your memory and it doesn't affect your performance on a lot of things. It just slows you down. So like if a bomb went off behind me, I'm like, oh my God. But on Prozac, I'd go, huh, a bomb. How about that? Okay. That's what Prozac does. I don't like it. I didn't ever like it. But once you start taking it, it fucking reprograms your brain. It puts like this. You can feel it. It's a chemical dose in your brain. And when you stop taking it, you get these like pains, like feels like lightning strikes inside of your brain. I don't know the molecular structure of what's happening, but something's happening. So you have to wean yourself off it slowly. Take a quarter pill or half a pill and then a quarter pill and then every other day. And you have to taper off until your chemistry comes back. Not easy to do. And so then I had to learn how to chill out, as a function of that. So anyway, 12 years later, no, 10, whatever it was, 8 years, I ended up building this guy's house. And through that process, if you ever build a custom home for yourself or have a guy build it for you, it's probably one of the most stressful things that you'll ever occur in your life, except for maybe cancer at death. But you're spending the most money you'll ever spend on one item. And you have expectations of what it's going to be when it gets done. And I've gone through this process a lot of times. As a general contractor, probably 30, 40 times with people. And I become almost their shrink. Because they're worried about, oh, do I have the fork and knife drawer in the right place? I got to make this big commitment. Do I put it on the left side of the stove or the right side of the stove? Where do we put the sink? Should we really put the sink there? Is that window too big? Should I have more light? But the sun comes up at 8 o'clock over that horizon, and will the angle be in my eyes when I'm sitting here, and will that bother me the rest of my life? Will the fucking sun be in my eyes where I'm sitting on the couch because I put the window too high? Oh my God, did I think about everything? Okay. It's too big of a rubric. You can't solve everything, and you just have to accept it. But when people are in the process of it and they're spending 1.2 million on that construction, oh my God, they're nervous. They're not cool. I've never seen any. Well, I have one client, I've built him 7 houses. By the 6th or 7th, he got really cool because he realized it doesn't matter. Because you will move the couch 6 inches and nothing is perfect. Okay, so I'm going along building this guy's house, and it took 18 months. And so we developed a whole new relationship. I mean, I used to be sitting on his couch 8 years ago. Now he's sort of sitting on my couch because problems are constantly occurring on the house. And just like me swinging this boat around, the way it's just like, oh yeah, if I see a window that's in the wrong place, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we'll deal with it. I don't get excited about it because I've been through it enough times, which is really my job, right? But he was not cool. And I said to him one day, I was like, well, at least it's so nice that you have your marriage together and, you have such a nice, wife and everything. And he goes, well, yeah, I hope so. Or said something to lead me to believe that maybe there was, troubles at home. I go, oh, well, sorry. And so that was my first look at him. I was like, wait a minute. You were the guy coaching me on my relationship. You got these same problems at home? Okay. And telling me I should give up on my dream. I think maybe what he should have done instead of telling me to give up my dream, I should have gone to a coach to how to sell my dream better.
Voila.
Voila. Okay, so by the end of the job, about 2/3 the way through this house, I come in one day and I'm moping. He looked at me, he goes, hey, what's wrong with you, man? You're usually like, well, hip and let's go and we're do the next task. I said, my wife asked me for a divorce. And he was like, he did the math. 9 years ago, he had basically just told me, yeah, go on the drugs, dude, so she'll be happy. That was their solution. And he was like a bit shell-shocked. And all he could do was try to say something nice. He goes, well, I'm too sorry about that. And, I hate to see when people get divorced. He's a nice guy. But so a couple months go by of hell for me because now I'm in the throes of trying to figure out how to divide up my empire. And now I'm, instead of this person being my partner who helps me create things, she becomes my adversary. And that's the person who's in charge of my kids. And that's the person who I'm kind of still living with, sleeping with. But we're not sleeping together anymore, but we're in the same room. Very difficult situation. And so I'm trying to stay cool through all this. Some nights I just stay away, I get a hotel or I stay wherever. And I'm going through horrible things. Getting a divorce sucks for everybody. And one day we got done, the whole job. And we're finished. He owed me my last payment. It's a big number because they come in like 5% installments. So it's a $60,000 check. And when he was going to move in, he was supposed to hand me the last check. That's the way it goes. And so I did the punch list, and the house is beautiful and shiny. And when I got done, I said, hey, I know you're going to pay me now, but I want to ask you something, and I want a really honest answer. I go, can we walk off your property? I don't want you standing on the energy that you own. So we walk off into the bushes a bit, this overlook. They said, you got my money? He says, yeah. I said, you ready to pay me? He says, yeah, I'm really happy with the house. I go, okay. I took it. I said, thank you very much. So now I go, so I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. Right? We're just two men standing here on neutral ground, neutral property. He says, yeah. I said, so you've gotten to know me. I've gotten to know you really well over the last year and a half. 8 years ago, you pretty much threw me under the bus to satisfy this woman. Do you think it was the right thing? You think I was crazy? I didn't sell myself well enough. I was pissed. I was, I didn't look at. I've never been arrested. I've never been, I've never threatened anybody, and I just get emotionally, tweaked, and I get mad. I wouldn't even yell at my wife or my kids, at them. I'd yell about things. Fucking plumber didn't show up again. We can't go away on Friday because of right. Here we're supposed to go away on Friday. On Friday at 4 o'clock, everybody's supposed to leave, but you're waiting for the plumber to show up on this house because someone wants to move in. But he doesn't show up because he got stuck in traffic, and I got a family standing there and wants to move into the house. You can't just leave them stranded. You got to deal with it. It's not like you can turn off your computer and keep writing on Monday. Like people's, it's when you build houses. It's real shit. You just have to deal with it. And I'd get mad. There was no benefit in getting mad. And again, and because my expectation wasn't that. Just had to be cool. I didn't really learn that until after my divorce. Because once the law comes in, they have 100% control over all your assets. If two people come together and create a thing that represents them both, whether you buy properties or you build a business or you used to have kids or whatever it is that you've created together, becomes both of your property. Even if one person brought more in than the other person, it equalizes and it becomes 50-50. Unless you sign prenups and all this crap, but generally that's the way it works. When one person wants to pull away and the other person doesn't want to, this person wants to run, wants to get away. You go to the court. Court is always going to side with that person who wants to destroy the integrity of the union that was married. Because it's the most expeditious way to dissolve the union. Because if they listen to me, they said, well, yeah, you should keep this property, keep that property, and it's more efficient. And this person says, fuck that shit, just sell everything, I want to go. They're going to default to that person. That was my ex-wife. Because the judge is going to want to dissolve it because you're on public time. You're in their courtroom. Their courtroom. It's the people's courtroom. Court's free. Lawyers aren't. Court's free. And you're taking this beautiful building and this room, and everybody wants their day in court. It's even said, here we are, day in court, and it's coveted, it's hollowed, it's valued, and he doesn't want to waste the time.
Yeah, it's not so what you say more or less, and I think kind of the same about lawyers, because I'm kind of searching the system right now, is that it's not about justice per se. Usually, sometimes it's just about, like literally getting it done.
Yeah, it's that, and in hindsight, I realized that, and it made no engineering sense whatsoever. It's like we built up all these we had 35 properties at the time. And you have to either one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. And some of them, they're all different types. And some are just empty property, land, they don't make any money. Some are really good apartments that are paying really well. Some are just neutral because they have a long life before they'll start paying. But once they do, the equity will be high and blah, 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 blah. All this tax consequences. It's this big, complex animal. That's the life of a developer. They're pretty much all the same. So tearing that apart, there's all these consequences. Judge doesn't give a fuck. My ex-wife didn't really care. And so I was just tossed. I was felt like a sumo wrestler had gotten hold of a skinny guy. And whack, whack, whack. And there was nothing I could do about it. You come in so mad, nothing you can do. From a practicality standpoint, you can't argue, well, it's more expeditious if we do this or this or this. And they go, yeah, but she doesn't want it. That'll get you the hell out of my court. Dude, you had 22 years to figure this out. That's how they see it. You've been married for 22 years and you haven't come to an agreement now? The shit.
I mean,
I'm going to get this done in a week. Watch. But it's not as bad as it could be. Not as good as it could be. I don't care. And so you watch millions of dollars get flushed down the drain. Like, oh my God. So anyway, after you go through that, I don't want to be insensitive, but I've never had a really bad sickness, but I would think it would feel like a cancer survivor. You get a cancer and you survive. You're so grateful. So this was a big step, a huge step in me finding grateful, is going through that process. In fact, that was the first step. However, but one of the biggest lessons is when I built that guy's house, and he actually gave me a nod because he saw me be on the cool side of myself. I can manage, very complex problems on these beautiful, very complicated homes with a plum. Oh yeah, we'll get that straight. And he would come on, oh my God, that wall looks like it's bending. It'll never fit. He'd be freaking out. And I'd say, don't worry about it. There's a process. We're going to get it. We'll get it. The floors are, don't worry. We'll get it, man. We know the solution for everything. And then it comes out straight and clean and perfect. And like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It was such I should have just shut my mouth. I said, yeah, because you wasted a lot of time just talking to me for nothing. And days sometimes, hours, 4 hours with his analysis on how I should solve a problem on a job site that I've done 80 times. And listen to him. Okay, I'm listening to you. Okay, we're going to go do it now. Okay, so that's one step of how I found grateful.
And a very interesting step. And so before we close, what are the main lessons to improve your managing of your expectations, actually?
Meditate.
What?
Meditation.
Meditate. All right.
Yeah, it's a big fucking deal. You should meditate, and it clears your mind. You don't have to swear to Buddha or the Dalai Lama or God or anybody else. The mind is a muscle. Just like this muscle, it needs to be worked out. And if you're feeling atrophy or whatever, you work it out. Feels better after you do 20 push-ups. It's a great thing to do. It's like doing 20 push-ups in your head. The mind is just another organ that needs this type of exercise. It's a part of the exercise process. To meditate, an app that I bought was Headspace, and the guy does talking meditations with you through it. And it's hard to do. So that will straighten your head out, make you calm. Exercise, really exercise. Think about others before yourself. That's the third one. Yeah, look out instead of in. Don't say, oh, I feel like this. Every time you say that to yourself, oh, I feel like this. It's so sad. Wait. Turn that around. How do you feel? Go into a bar. I challenge you. Don't tell the guy next to you how you're feeling. Instead, open the conversation with, hey, guy drinking a beer next to you, how was your day? Go in at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock when they come home from work. The guy's sitting there. Somebody you don't know, you say, hey, how was your day? Don't really ask him how he's doing, but ask him, how was your day? And you will see people crack open. Say, oh my God, how was my day? Well, I got a flat tire on the way in, and then my boss yelled at me. Whatever the fuck. Something. Because if he had an amazingly happy day, he probably wouldn't be sitting in there. He wants someone to listen to him. Right? So you flipped it around.
Amazing. And I've seen you, by the way, for the people listening, I've seen Duane doing exactly all three. So it's not just talk here.
Oh, and yeah, where did you see that?
I've seen you meditating in a video that you did for, I remember, for a promotion for Grateful Travel and all. And I remember it was very, wow, he meditates probably. So that was one. Another one about the exercise, of course, you are a strong guy. So it's kind of obvious to me that, and you swim. So it's kind of like ritualistic for you. And the other one about thinking about how's your day, you did it to me a few times when we met on your boat, and you did it to other people live. So I was observing, and it kind of struck to me like interesting opening. That was fun. So guys and girls, go download the homes, the designs, the buildings, and our beautiful booklet, and you're going to find a beautiful newsletter coming in every week, so it's going to be worth it. And see you in the next episode 4 for Finding Grateful. Duane, ciao, ciao. Have a great night on your fucking boat, which I'm jealous, but hey, what can I say? So I'm going to try to be in my apartment. So bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, Duane.
Okay, bye. Have a great night, everybody.